Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, I'm back. Now, as y'all can see, season 2 of NBA 2K26 is officially here, and of course, y'all know I gotta bring y'all a whole bunch of good uploads. For today's video, I'm gonna be giving y'all the perfect power forward build that you can be running on this game for every single mode possible. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. The season 2 patch put players into retirement. The tempo fitters was like, nah, I'm done. It's the worst 2K of all time now. Then on the flip side, some people saying that this is the best 2K. It's kind of crazy. But let me know, do y'all think this season 2 patch was good or is it an L? Also, if y'all want to update on my 6'4", 6'8", 6'9", 62, 99 overall videos, the latest possible date they're going to be dropping is November 1st, 7th, and 14th. But I'm pretty sure I might have them out before then. But if I don't, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, bro, if y'all do in fact enjoy this perfect power forward build video, go ahead and drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel. But with all that being said, let's get right into this banger.
We don't care.
Alright, so when it comes to making the perfect power forward build video on NBA 2K26, there's going to be two versions of this power forward. One is going to be the more offense heavy oriented version of this power forward, and then the second version is going to have more rebounding. It's going to be more catering towards a defensive rebounding back end, if that makes more sense. I don't know, but both of these builds are going to be very, very devious regardless. Now, as for the first build, we're going to be going over the offense version first. The perfect height for a power forward build in this game, in my opinion, is going to be 6'11". 6'11" gets the best defensive contest versus any 7'4" build, 7'3s. It gets way better contest than 6'10" and 6'9. So you might as well go 6'11". It just makes the most sense. And you can run this build at center in the park. If you want to, you can go crazy with that, of course. I would recommend y'all run the second version of this build, which has a little bit more rebounding, but hey, y'all can still do whatever y'all want to, of course. As for the weight on this version of the build, you want to go all the way down to exactly 213 pounds, obviously, for the 68 speed with ball. Trust me, bro, this build is very, very devious. For y'all wingspan, you want to go at the 6'11" wingspan. Trust me on this, it is very devious. Now, when I think power forward on this game, doesn't matter if you're playing rec, park, wherever, I think of a build that can pretty much guard all the bigs with basically no problem on the game and can score at will and get buckets with basically no problem. It basically comes effortless as a power forward. I don't think like main ball handler, you know, primary passer and things of that nature. Like, I don't think that when I think of a power forward, or even when I play power forward, I'm really just there to get buckets and things of that nature. So for your 3-ball, you want to go with the 93 ball in this more offense heavy version of the build, so we can get deep bomber takeover, which deep bomber takeover is basically the best takeover ability in the game. Being able to pull up anywhere on the court at any moment is kind of crazy. Like, literally crossing half court in the 5s, you're pulling up from anywhere. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of crazy, bro. As long as you time it good, you're dropping them 3s from anywhere. And also, since we are 6'11", as y'all can see, we went 6'11" wingspan, we get to push our mid-range all the way up to 93, which 93 mid-range does in fact give us Hall of Fame set shot specialist. And since we're going shooting specialization, we're also going to be able to push our set shot specialist to legend with our max +1 from our shooting specialization. Not to mention, you're also going to have gold shifty shooter and gold deadeye off the rip. So if your other max +2 that you get from the build specialization, you can also go ahead and put your shifty shooter to legend or legend deadeye, which, if y'all don't know, midi fades are actually still very broken. Now, as for your driving dunk, standing dunk, and obviously post control, you want to go with an 87 driving dunk, so you can get contact dunks and you can have posterizer badge on silver, which obviously to get that we have to have at least a 75 vertical. And since this is also a tier 2 badge, we could in fact push this to gold or Hall of Fame, but in my opinion, I would just leave it on silver. But hey, that's just me in my opinion. As for y'all standing dunk, we are 6'11". We are going to be able to get big man contact dunks on this build with silver. Rise up if y'all want to. Of course, y'all can go crazy with that against those very small builds that's going to be in the paint, 6'4s, 6'6s, 6'8s. You'll be able to basically contact dunk them in the paint almost every single time. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of crazy and pretty unguardable if I do say so myself. Now, as for y'all post control, again, we're gonna have a 93 midi. We're gonna be able to basically score at will with this build. It's going to be pretty easy. We might as well have a pretty high post control to go along with it. We're going to have an 84 post control, which is, y'all see right here, we're going to have the first requirement for our post fade phenom to be on Hall of Fame. And obviously with a regular max +1 from the season pass, you could in fact push this all the way to Hall of Fame as well. But hey, of course, that's going to be up to y'all. When it comes to scoring on this build, bro, you can basically score at every single level: standing dunk, contact dunks, post fades, midi fades, shooting threes, lights out, deep bomber threes as well. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro, this build is very devious for a power forward. You are a complete bucket getter. But yeah, so far the build is looking very devious, and obviously to be able to score at will and do all these crazy things, we also have to be able to dribble and ISO up, of course. So we're gonna go with the 73 ball handle, and if you want to, you could go with the 75. That's completely up to y'all, whatever y'all want to do. Of course, go crazy with that. For y'all speed ball, you want to have the 68 speed ball on this build so we can get lightning launch on bronze. And with our tier 2 max +2, we're going to be pushing this all the way to gold so we can be as quick as possible on this game, whether we're trying to go for a midi fade, off the 3-point line, just go for an easy dunk, whatever we're trying to do, we want to have that lightning launch on goal so we can be dumb quick on this build. Now, as for your pass act, I know it may seem a little bit low right now, but trust me, this is going to be devious as well. For the pass act, you want to go with the 54 passing accuracy. I'm trying to tell y'all, with cap breakers, this is not going to be no big deal at all. Like, I'm trying to tell y'all, this is going to be very solid. Don't even worry about the pass act right now. We're going to fix that with the cap breakers and things of that nature. It is actually the only weakness on this build. Obviously, we're going to tune that up with the cap breakers. But anyway, for y'all still, you want to go with the 60 still. I know a lot of people have seen that the steals was completely broken after the first patch, which was patch 2.0. But then they pretty much reverted the steals with patch 2.1. So steals are back to being straight up how they were before. If you're a good lock on the game, you actually have to time your steal. Like, you can't just mindlessly get bump steals anymore. 2K completely got rid of that. Again, for y'all perimeter defense, you want to have a 72 perimeter defense. This is only to get a movable enforcer on silver. As for y'all block, where you want to have the 84 block. Now, if y'all want to, y'all could push y'all block all the way up to 88 for the gold high flying denier, but again, that is completely up to y'all. Anyway, for y'all interior defense, to guard pretty much every build in this game with no problem, you want to have an 82 interior defense. You don't want to be getting dunked on or anything like that with like a 70 interior. Way to go. Now, as for y'all rebounding, now again, the rebounding isn't that good on this version of the build because we are more offensive focused, but you know, it is what it is. What y'all want to do for y'all defensive rebound, you want to go 80 defensive rebound, and for your offensive rebound, you want to go with the 75 offensive rebound. And obviously for y'all regular max +2 or max +1, you want to go ahead and go for a rebound chaser on gold or Hall of Fame, so you'll be able to help your centers and things of that nature get rebounds a lot easier. As for y'all strength, again, this is not going to be like strictly trying to run center 24/7, so we don't have the 83 strength, but we do in fact have an 82 strength to get that silver movable enforcer. The second version of this build is going to have an 83 strength for the silver brick wall, so we can set some screens and things of that nature. Of course. Now, as for your vertical, you want to have an 83 vertical for the Hall of Fame pogo stick to grab those boards, snag those boards over the 7-foot build, 7-foot threes, 7-4, 7-2, 7-1s, any footers. Really, obviously you want to have at least an 83 vertical for that Hall of Fame pogo stick, of course. Now, as for y'all speed and agility, again, we are a 6'11" big. We don't want to be slow. You want to have at least a 70 agility. We don't get anything from upgrading it to 71 because we are 6'11". You know, it is what it is. And for y'all speed, you want to go with the 75 speed. Now, I know y'all might be saying 75 speed. Why would I do that when the speed can go all the way up to 79? Trust me, bro, the way we're going to set up the cap breakers on this build, you're going to be able to tweak it and things of that nature. But for now, you want to go with the 75 speed and 70 agility. And for the rest of the points on this build, we're going to go ahead and put it into our free throw. And this is the first version of the 6'11" perfect power forward build on this game. In my opinion, I don't really see a flaw in this build except the pass act. But again, like I said, we're going to tweak that with cap breakers and things of that nature. And for the shades on this build, we get Dolph Shays. I might have said his name wrong, my fault. Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley. For the build name or archetype name, we do in fact get a rim rocking stretch eraser. But as y'all can see, bro, this is what the Cat Breakers is going to look like on this build, of course, which in my opinion is the better perfect power forward build in my opinion. But anyway, for the Cat Breakers, as y'all can see, we're gonna have +4, +4, +3, +3, +3 on the pass act, which is gonna give y'all a dimer and break starter, of course. And if you want to, you can go a step further and go ahead for the 71 pass act for the silver dimer and some, you know, a couple of decent pass styles, Paolo Banchero, Austin Reeves, I think RJ Barrett, and things of that nature. But like I said, for the Cat Breakers on this build, you want to go 2 with the shooting specialization for the 90 midi. Then you want to put 3 regular Cat Breakers towards your midi for the 93 mid-range shot, obviously. That way you're going to have the Hall of Fame set shot specialist and all the good shooting badges, of course. What I personally would do is I would put 3 regular Cat Breakers towards my mid-range shot, 3 regular Cat Breakers towards my passing accuracy, and me personally, I would put the last 2 towards my speed for the 79 speed. But hey, that's just my opinion. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to, of course. And I know I always get this question, of course, for the build specialization, you're going to be picking shooting. That's pretty much the specialization I choose for every single one of my builds. So you want to go with the shooting specialization on this build. No other specialization. The shooting specialization is the way to go perfectly every single time. Now, if you want to know how to upgrade the build on a budget, you want to still have a lot of the good capabilities about the build and go crazy. For the first build, this is pretty much how you want to upgrade it to still go crazy off the rip. You want to have your 3-ball at exactly 90. Obviously, for the deep bomber, you want to go stupid with that. Obviously, max out y'all mid-range shot and then put the Cat Breakers towards y'all midi. Go for the 93 mid-range and things of that nature so we can be the absolute best we can possibly be. As for y'all post control, I would only really recommend y'all upgrade y'all post control to like 70, just so you'd be able to still have that post fade phenom on exactly silver, so you'd be able to, you know what I'm saying, fade a little bit and things of that nature, of course. As for your standing dunk on the build, bro, you want to still be able to dunk and things of that nature underneath the court. Of course, you want to go ahead and go for the 72 standing dunk. For y'all driving dunk, I don't really care what no one says. Go ahead and max this all the way out. You still want to get those contact dunks, of course, and obviously for those contact dunks, you want to have at least a 75 vertical. For y'all speed, you want to go ahead and max this out, max out your agility as well. Again, this is how you upgrade the build on a budget if you still want to go crazy. Of course, want to go ahead and max out your speed ball, max out your ball handle. Pass act, you want to go all the way up to exactly 50 on the pass act. As for your strength, you want to upgrade it all the way up to exactly 72 strength, obviously for break ball, of course. Then for your block, you want to upgrade your block all the way up to exactly 74, no higher, no less. And then you want to go ahead and start working on your rebounding capabilities, obviously all the way up to exactly 80. And if you have a little bit more VC or whatever, of course, you want to go ahead and upgrade your interior defense all the way up to exactly 74. And this is pretty much how you want to upgrade the build on a budget. I know it doesn't look the best, obviously, but if you don't have too much VC, you want to work your way up or whatever, of course, this is how you want to upgrade the build and still be very, very dominant. Now, as for the takeover, I would recommend y'all use the triple threat takeover if you don't have custom takeover. Now, if you have custom takeover, obviously you can go ahead and, you know, set it up however you want to, but make sure you're choosing the deep bomber takeover ability. It's the best takeover ability in the game. But if you're not using that, go ahead and use the poster machine takeover ability. After the patch, the poster machine takeover is actually very, very devious, especially with skilled slasher takeover. I ain't gonna lie, you're gonna be going very, very stupid with this takeover. Now, as for the second version of the perfect power forward, that's more oriented towards the defense end, I would say, and obviously rather than offense. Of course, you want to go with a 6'11". Of course, as for your weight, you want to go exactly 222 pounds. And for your wingspan, you want to go with the 7-foot wingspan. This is less focused on offense and a little bit more rebound and more defense and things of that nature. But anyway, the build is still going to be a demon regardless. For your 3-ball, you want to go with an 89 3-ball. This way, you're going to have limitless range on silver. As for your mid-range shot, you want to go with the 87 mid-range shot. Yes, 87 mid-range shot. You want to put Cat Breakers towards your midi and get the 92 mid-range shot, so we'll be able to have Deadeye on gold and Shifty Shooter on gold as well. And obviously, since we're going shooting specialization on this build as well, we'll also be able to push our set shot specialist to legend and then go ahead and put on, you know, Hall of Fame Shifty Shooter, or you can do Hall of Fame set shot specialist, legend shifty shooter, whatever y'all want to do. Of course, the build is still going to be very, very OD. As the only thing that we're really going to be missing is the D-Bomber Takeover, but you know, it is what it is. As for your standing dunk on this build, you want to go with the 81 standing dunk. Again, we're not really focused too much on offense on this version of the build, so we're not going to be worrying about our post control at all. For your driving dunk, you want to go all the way up to exactly 87 driving dunk. For your driving layup, you want to go ahead with the 70 driving layup. This way we're still going to have contact dunks and go crazy and things of that nature. Of course, again, we are focused less on offense, but we're still going to be very, very OD. So you want to have a 65 for your ball handle, you want to go with the 73 ball handle. For your pass sack, you want to go with the 50 pass sack. Again, I'm going to show you how the cat breakers will be able to tweak this and make it a lot better. As for your still perimeter defense and your interior is pretty much the same as the first build. The only thing we're really changing is our block and our rebound. Of course, for your block, you want to go all the way up to exactly 88 block. And this way, if you do have a couple of extra cat breakers, you can go ahead and push your block all the way up to a 93 block and basically be unstoppable when it comes to being in the paint. No one's going to be getting shots up on you like super easy or nothing like that. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it's going to be very, very devious. If y'all want to, you can go ahead and do that. But for now, you want to go with the 88 block, of course. Again, this build is more oriented for rebounding. Obviously, it's a true back end. It's going to have a lot better rebounding capabilities and things of that nature. You want to go with the 85 defensive rebound. This way, you're going to have box out beast on gold. And obviously, with a max +2 or max +1, you can go ahead and push your box out beast to legend, or you can push it to Hall of Fame with a Hall of Fame rebound chaser, of course, and things of that nature. But that is going to be completely up to y'all on how y'all want to run it. As for your strength, you're going to have an 83 strength. This way, we'll be setting way better screens with the silver brick wall and things of that nature. And obviously, for the vertical, to get rebounds and things of that nature is way better. You're going to have an 83 vert. For the Hall of Fame pogo stick, same thing for our agility, 70 agility, same thing for our speed, a 75 speed. And for our free throw, again, we're playing all modes. We have to shoot free throws and things of that nature. So you want to go with the 71 free throw. And for the last point on our build, we might as well just throw on our post fade, just in case we want to just chuck up a little fade here and there, get a little shifty and things of that nature. We'll be able to have post fade on bronze. But as y'all can see, this is the second version of this build. Again, we do have better rebounding, better defense capabilities and things of that nature. And as for the shades on this build, we do in fact get Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, Al Harrington. For the build name, we get a rim reaping 3-level score. As for the cat breakers on this build, again, like I said, we are going to be able to fix our pass sack very, very easily with cat breakers. As you can see, +6, +6, +5, +5, +4. So obviously, depending on however much passing you want on the build, you can go ahead and fix it, of course, with the cat breakers and things of that nature. But obviously, for y'all mid-range shot, you want to go ahead and put 5 cat breakers towards this, 2 with the shooting specialization, of course, and then 3 with regular cat breakers. And you can just go ahead and start working on your pass sack, or you can start working on your block, whatever you think. Of course, that's going to be up to y'all. But yeah, that is pretty much how you're going to want to set up the cat breakers on this build. And obviously, for the build specialization for this build as well, go shooting if you're skipping through, of course. Now, as for the jump shot and animations on this build, for the animations, first off, you want to go with the Giannis dribble style. The Giannis dribble style is a little bit better than KD's dribble style, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But, you know, it is what it is. Whatever you want to do is up to you. Anyway, for the signature size, if you want to go KD, breakdown combo, you want to go KD, of course. Pro escape, combo moves, you want to go pro, crossover, pro, behind the back, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant actually does have a pretty good behind the back. Spin, you want to go pro. And then obviously for the hezzy, you want to go pro as well. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. For the hezzy, I did try out Kevin Durant's hezzy for a little bit. It is solid. But again, I don't really do hezzies too much. But when I do it, I ain't going to lie to y'all. KD's ain't that bad. Anyway, if y'all step back, you want to go Giannis on the step back. Giannis step back is actually pretty decent, obviously. Like, you can literally just look at it. It's way better than the rest of these. I ain't gonna cap to you. For the triple threat, Kobe. Now, for y'all motion style, this is where I was kind of like, I don't know, should I run Chet or what? About 3 weeks ago, I was watching 2K Toots, and they made a video. They were talking about the fastest motion styles in the game. And Chet Holmgren was top on defense and on offense. Like, he's one of the fastest ones in the game by far. So this is pretty much the one I've stuck with. Now, I've seen people go Drew Eubanks. I've seen people go Anthony Davis. that's cool and all, but bro, after you switch, once you make the switch to Chet Holmgren, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, gang, you are never gonna want to go back. If you're a hop jumper, you want to go with Nikola Jokic hop jumper, one of the best ones in the game. If you're a spin jumper, Dirk, dribble pull up, normal 2. Now, as for the jump shots on this build, bro, now what I would personally recommend y'all run is Danny Wolf's base. Now hold on, I know you may be like, Danny Wolf, who is Danny Wolf? Are we dead serious? Bro, trust me, bro, this jump shot is actually chicken, bro. I can't remember what YouTuber I got it from on YouTube, but bro, this jump shot base is actually chicken. Make sure you're using tempo shooting. It's mad easy. I ain't gonna lie, there's no reason to go button. If you want to, obviously go crazy with button. I still shoot what, 68% with button. I shoot 75 with tempo. In my opinion, you might as well do whatever you feel like is best for you, of course, but I think tempo is just way too easy on this game, even after the patch. The Jonathan Isaac base. Now look, I know the timing stability is pretty bad, I ain't gonna lie, but the jump shot is still chicken, especially if you're using tempo shooting. It's a mad fast jumper. It's basically unguardable, I ain't gonna lie, but this is more for like the standstill shooting. I would really recommend y'all run the Danny Wolf jumper if you're trying to get a little crazy, midi phase, post phase, all of that. Both these jump shots are still butter though, of course. But listen, man, that is how you make the perfect power forward build on NBA 2K26. If y'all did in fact enjoy this video, go ahead and drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, of course. But listen, make sure y'all have y'all post notifications on, obviously, for the 60 to 99 overall video, 6'4", 6'8", 6'9", of course. But look, man, with all that being said, I'm out this joint. Peace.